Good morning and welcome to episode 4 of Project Mercury. And today we start the communication side of things and we're looking at Raspberry Pis. And what we're going to do is provide communications for Fusion, DMR, whether it be Brandmeister or Phoenix, and also Allstar. So to get these communications, I'm using Raspberry Pis. I'm going to go through Raspberry Pis. Allstar's a little bit different. That's using this Raspberry Pi 4 here with a Bofang radio board that's actually sat on the top of it. Raspberry Pi 4s are notorious for heat. They provide a lot of heat. So I've had to provide some cooling for the Raspberry Pi 4, and I've had to install one of these fans. They're USB fans, single speed, and I've actually installed it directly above the board there, and that's running now. There's no sound off it whatsoever, and that will be the Allstar system. So where are the other Raspberry Pis? Well, the other Raspberry Pis are actually sat inside the top of the unit, and they will provide Fusion and DMR. That's either Brandmeister or Phoenix. So they're in the top of the unit, secured. So let's move on. So you've got the two Raspberry Pi Zeros providing Fusion and DMR in the top of the unit, and you've got this one here that's providing Allstar. So if we take a look at Brandmeister first, it is active at the moment, so I won't actually do a radio check. There's QSOs going on.
Located in the middle of the mountain is Alpha Lima Papa India. In this moment I have 4 centigrade plus.
So that system's working quite well. No problems with it whatsoever. We'll move on to Fusion, which is the other Raspberry Pi Zeros, and I'm connected to the America link there. I'm going to try for a radio check to prove it works for you, but at this time of the morning, I doubt we'll get anybody. This is Mike 6 Hotel Oscar Uniform. Is there anybody on America link can give me a very quick check for a YouTube video? Just a quick radio check, please. No, sadly, it's the time of the morning, but I am actually connected, as you can see there, to the America link. Third and last, of course, is Allstar. We're going to connect now to Allstar. So I actually already logged in on the system, so I shall move the camera just a little bit so you can see what's going on. So I'm on the Allstar page there, and I shall log in. And connect to, we'll go to HubNet, that could be busy.
M0HOY connected to M6HOU. M6HOU.
This is Mike 6 Hotel Oscar Uniform. Is there anybody listening to HubNet just to give me a very quick radio check there for a YouTube video?
That's why I wanted to be mobile. But you're noisy, very noisy, over.
SYY Mobile Mike 6 Hotel Oscar Uniform. Much appreciated. Understand I'm noisy at the moment. It's probably the amount of electrical equipment that I'm actually using here at my end. You're 5 and 9 at least, but a good signal off you.
Okay, thanks for that. I'm going to lose the repeater in a minute now, but you're coming okay. Like the other station said, there was quite a bit of noise at the back of you.
M0HOY disconnected.
Okay, well, he lost the repeater there at the end, but that's proved the system actually works. On the actual, I've moved to the screen here, and on here, I can see what's going on the various channels that I would connect to, either the East Coast repeater, or that's in the States, or HubNet, or whatever I'm using on Allstar, and that's the HubNet there. And you should be able to see me going out somewhere on there, hopefully. Can't really see it, but I'll be on there somewhere. The other system, of course, is a Fusion, and we'll just go there. So if I bring up a new page, and we'll go to Fusion, which is there, and you can see I actually transmitted there on Fusion, and with no loss of signal. So I've proved that one works. And finally, if I go to Brandmeister, which is actually on that one at the moment, and there's Brandmeister, and as you can see, I transmitted a very, very short transmit on there. So that's all proved. So the first 3 lots of communications in the project are actually complete, and they're the Pi stars. So you've got a Pi 4 here, and in the top you've got 2 Raspberry Pi Zeros running Fusion and Brandmeister, or as I've said, or Phoenix, depending which SD card I want in. Now, the issue that you've got with this system is very easy to connect the Raspberry Pi 4 to the Ethernet, not a problem, but you've got Raspberry Pi Zeros, no Ethernet port on them. So how do you get around this issue of not using Wi-Fi? So to connect to the router, as you can see, they're all connected up to the router. I've only got 1 spare port now on the PoE router. So if you've got yourself a Raspberry Pi Zero, example, 1 Raspberry Pi Zero, there is an adapter you can buy, and it's a micro USB adapter that turns it into an RJ45. They're very cheap to buy on the usual River site, and you just plug that into one of the micro USB ports on there, and then with your PoE unit that slots in, that gives you your power, you connect the other micro SD to the Raspberry Pi Zero, and of course connect the switch to the actual adapter. And if you can imagine, that's the USB cable that actually goes to your switch. Now if I plug that in, there we go, and if you can imagine, that's the cable going off to your switch. So that is a network switch connection for a Raspberry Pi Zero. So the only real addition to the project is these little adapters on the end that are USB, micro USB adapter, and you can pick them up for a couple of quid. You can either get a USB-C, micro USB, etc., and they just slot into the side. You've got 2, haven't you? You've got 2 ports on a Raspberry Pi 0, two little micro SD ports. And the way I use it is I plug the adapter into the center port, and then the power coming from the PoE into the outer port there. And that's how that all works. So the big issue is, obviously, if this is transportable, you've got it plugged in at home, maybe to your router at home, but you then want to connect, as I will be doing, to a separate router altogether on the mini Starlink, then the IP addresses are going to change, and the Wi-Fi is also going to change. So you would have the annoyance of having to actually change all the Wi-Fi IDs in the Raspberry Pis, but putting them on network cables and running them through the switch, you negate all that. You don't need to. They will just pick up the actual network that's coming from your router. Okay, so a quick overview before I end the video. So you've got a Raspberry Pi 4 and a Bofang radio board that's actually on top of that Raspberry Pi 4, providing Allstar and whatever communication systems you're using on Allstar. You've got a Raspberry Pi 4 on the top of the unit that's providing Fusion, and you've got a second Raspberry Pi Zero that's actually providing Brandmeister or Fusion, and they're all up and running. These power supplies, these adapters that you can get, PoE adapters that you can actually get, you can get various amps on them. This is a 4 amp one, and the one I've connected to the Raspberry Pi 4 is also a 4 amp one. So a little bit of maths is required. It's 5 volts into the Raspberry Pi 4 and 4 amps. I require it to provide 4 amps. So the little bit of maths, that equals out at 20 watts. So this actual switch, the PoE switch, will provide 30 watts at minimum. It can provide up to 60 for using distantly connected equipment, but just leaving it set at 30 watts is fine. And that works with no problem whatsoever. Okay, guys, that's episode 4. The Raspberry Pis and the first 3 bits of communications equipment that have gone into the system. Fusion, Brandmeister, as I've said, or DMR, and also Allstar. Some people amongst you will have noticed that I've also started to put in the HF side of things. That's the G1, the Zygu G106, and the aerial tuner. The aerial tuner actually has its own battery installed in it. I'm waiting for one more piece of equipment to arrive, and that's the power amplifier. This throws out 5 watts. I've got a PA50 that will sit on top of that. And it's called a PA50, but it doesn't supply 50 watts. You were lucky to get 30, depending which band you're on, 30 to 35 watts out of it. But we'll go into that, and that will be episode 5, if the PA50 arrives by next week. Okay, guys, that's the end of episode 4. I hope you've enjoyed it. Take care till the next episode.